Hey everyone, thank you for downloading a new episode, or maybe streaming live. Who knows? Maybe you're not downloading. A new episode of the Retro Gamers. Larry here.
And Anthony here.
What's going on, Ant?
Just another week's gone by.
Another week, that's it. LA's still here, New York is still here. The Retro Gamers are still here.
Yeah, but I don't know for how much longer, because every time I check the news, I'm on the West Coast, so I got to worry about North Korea.
I'm on the East Coast, and I got to worry about New Jersey.
Well, yeah, but New York has always had to worry about New Jersey because they're just creeping right up underneath you guys.
This is true. We love New Jersey.
Sure. No offense, Frankie. I know you moved to New Jersey.
Oh, that's right. I forgot he moved to New Jersey. I got my cousins.
Well, we
have
two friends that live in New Jersey.
Who's the other one who lives in Jersey?
The other Anthony.
Oh yeah! Oh my God! Yeah, that's right.
The Anthony that we're not bringing on the show to talk about the NES Classic.
I'm dying to get him. I'm going to see him next week. I may have to do a special interview with him. Yeah.
Well, that we'll make that a segment for next week's show.
Oh God! Now I have to bring my microphone and everything.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. We're gonna log it in for the next episode.
He's going to take up the entire hour.
That's okay. That's what editing's for. Oh, wait, did I say that out loud? I'm sorry. We here at the Retro Gamers never edit anything that we say. Everything that you hear is completely live.
Of course. That's why in the last 2 weeks when you've heard those sound effect drops, we just do that live. Sure.
Yeah, exactly. That's just when we say a naughty word.
Oh, that's awesome. We should try that. I got to think of a sound, though. Perfect sound.
Well, you remember those videos that went around online of like presidential speeches where they would drop in sounds in a regular speech? So it sounds like they're cursing,
like unnecessary cursing or whatever. I think Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah, I forgot what it was called, but those were funny. But it has nothing to do with retro games.
No, we usually don't curse anyway, so we're pretty good with that.
Yeah, we're pretty peachy.
It's Frank. When Frank's on, he's the one you got to be careful.
Yeah, I know. He's got a potty mouth. Frank, if you're ever going to guest on our show again, watch the language.
He's already taken care of that because now he's got his own show, so it's okay.
All right. Well, then he can curse all he wants.
And he
on
has
his
already.
Show.
Yes, he has. The Better Half. Check it out. Check it out.
Oh, wait. That's right. You're on that, too.
I am, too. Co-host. Thank you very much.
You co-host everything.
Except for the Pro Slam World podcast. Wham! That's just me.
Yeah, that's probably what. Nah, never mind.
Hey, that's doing good.
I was going to say, I was about to throw an insult your way. But you know what? I mean, running a podcast solo has got to be super difficult, so kudos to you.
That's why it's only a half hour. No, it's not. You know what it is? And I used to I used to do this one, before, let's kind of pull the curtain back a little bit. Before we started doing the Retro Gamers, I was doing like my own shows, More of the Same it was called, and it is difficult to do it as just one person because that people don't really want to listen to you for like a long period of time unless you really have something good to say.
It's true. I usually cap off with you around 3 minutes.
That's why my original shows are like 15 minutes, 10-15 minutes. Yeah, honestly.
That's why our first retro gaming podcasts were like 20 because my head was going to explode.
Listen, it was tough to get through. I didn't even have you mic'd properly. So
yeah, I know. At least now, like I've built up a tolerance level, so we're good.
And when I know what I'm talking about by myself, that's why Pro Slam World is the hottest, newest wrestling show on the internet. But right now, we're here for the retro gaming. Even though yesterday we really didn't play much retro yesterday. When we recorded.
We didn't do much retro gaming, which, by the way, would prompt me to bring up the elephant in the room that is Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest that you still haven't gotten back to.
I'll get there. I've been maybe just you know what? I keep thinking I'm going to do it on a Friday. I just can't do it on a Friday. I just got to do it just whenever I'm ready. So it's going to be kind of sporadic, unfortunately.
Well, and that's just the way to do it. I mean, whenever you have the time, just throw up a live stream, play it, and the video will save on the page anyway. So
true.
People can view it later if they want to, just to see how bad you are at Castlevania 2.
Yeah. Oh God, I hate that game.
But anyway, to your point though, yesterday, you had brought up to me that you were going to stream live, and I actually had a pocket of free time, which is rare for me.
Yeah, right.
If you know me, you know what that means. I actually had a friend on the phone last night who's like, "Wait a minute, it's 7:30 on a Saturday night, and you're home?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I go, "Not only am I home, I don't have anything to do." It was glorious. But so So yesterday, you told me that you had you were going to go on and live stream, and I was home, so I was like, "Oh, great!" I will join your live stream. Let's play a retro game against each other.
Totally.
So that was the initial plan, and then a friend of ours decided to shoot us a message saying that he downloaded a brand new game that most of us, if not all of us, have eagerly been waiting for. I know, I've been chomping at the bit to get my hands on this game, and it released this week or last week. And so if you don't know what that game is, it is Friday the 13th. And no, we're not talking about the reviled NES Friday the 13th game, but a brand new Friday the 13th game has released on Steam, Xbox One, and PS4,
yes.
I believe.
Yep.
It is online only, and it can play up to 8 players, where one person is randomly selected to play Jason, and everybody else plays the camp counselors. And what it is it's basically a 20-minute game where the counselor's goal is the counselors have to survive, at least one counselor, or all, however many can make it. Their goal is to survive the night, while Jason's goal is to slaughter them all.
There you go.
Could not be more fun.
It almost plays like the NES game as far as Counselor versus Jason. There really wasn't anything else. You run around the camp. I mean, in the NES version, you were only the Counselor, but you ran around the camp having to destroy Jason. In this game, yes, you try and survive, but you can attack. And I don't know if you can kill Jason, but you can definitely attack him enough.
Yes, you can.
You can kill him. Okay.
You can't kill him. I have no idea how much it takes to kill him, but yes, one of the options for the counselors, the options for survival are: you kill Jason, you survive the night, and I think each round that you play is about 20 minutes. So basically, you have to survive 20 minutes in the game to survive the night. The other option is you can fix the car and drive away,
or a boat.
You can fix a car or a boat, and then the last option is to call the police and then get in the cop car before Jason gets you.
Gotcha.
So there are a lot of options for the counselors to survive. Jason's obviously, one goal only.
Yeah.
Kill.
Yep.
Which is awesome. But what I love about the game is that, we played a handful of times last night, and what's awesome about it is it felt like when I first played Resident Evil. It's like that survival horror kind of game, especially when you're the counselor. It's like you're walking around. It's dark. You have no idea what's going to come out at you, what's going to grab you. And granted, in this case, it's just one person. It's Jason. But still, it's like you have no idea where he is. So you're basically kind of sneaking around, trying to find places to hide, trying to find weapons, the car battery, things like this. All at the same time, he can just come bursting through a door and start killing you. It's like... it's awesome. It's just absolutely awesome.
They definitely gave an edge for the player as Jason, because as the counselors is 7 of them, and you can hide. Like a buddy of ours, Frank, he pretty much found a closet and hid for 15 minutes. So
no. He did not hide for 15 minutes. He hid for 19 minutes and 15 seconds. He was 45 seconds away from surviving the night, and then Jason found him and slaughtered him with 20 seconds to go.
And let me preface it by saying, literally, game starts, 3, 2, 1, go. Into a closet he ran, and that's where he was for the remainder of the game. He really didn't go around the camp. But with Jason, they give you a lot of you can warp, essentially. They have that stalker mode where it's almost remember from Evil Dead. It's it's a Sam Raimi style of shooting where you just take the camera and just move forward at a fast pace, and you're whipping through the trees and everything. So there are ways, because instead of just Jason walking around the camp, he can warp, he can speed up and stuff like that, and that takes some time to get used to, because I was playing around with that when I was Jason, and I found out, because I went back and watched the feed. By the way, this was all streamed live on our Facebook page, facebook.com/RetroGamersPodcast. I realized how I became Jason, because now I remember what happened. When we wait for the game to start, on the bottom it said, and I must have hit the button, it said assign Jason.
Oh, as
if you
the
hit
host
one of the buttons. Yes, as a host, you can assign anyone as Jason.
Oh,
so
cool.
I must have hit the button, and wham, that was me. So
yeah, see, I randomly got picked for the first one.
No, yeah, that I found funny,
which was great.
So,
but to your point though, with the powers that Jason has, like with the he's got rage mode where he can just burst through doors and walls without like having to chop through them and stuff. But like, and then the morphing and all that stuff. I mean, those are classic horror movie tropes, because the whole idea when you watch Friday the 13th movies, and I'm a huge horror movie fan, huge Friday the 13th movie fan. I have the box set and everything. Love those movies. Is that no matter where you are in like those horror movies, like the counselors, it doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter how fast you run. He always manages to catch up to you, even though he doesn't run. Totally. So yeah, it's just one of those things. So the fact that they added that into the game where he can just like he can basically morph, or they call it morphing, but basically he transports himself from one side of the camp to the other in the blink of an eye. Now, granted, there are limitations to your powers. So in other words, it's like once you morph, you have to wait for the morph like power
cooldown
grid, the power grid to refill so you can do it again. So it's not like you can just keep doing it until you find people. So that part is cool. But it's just that idea of like the people who created this game were clearly huge fans of the franchise, because when they actually started making this game on
Kickstarter?
On Kickstarter, yeah, that's what I was trying to say. When they were making this game on Kickstarter, it was not Friday the 13th themed. They were using Friday the 13th as an homage to it, and they were doing a game where it was camp counselors versus a killer. And then they managed to get the license for Friday the 13th, which just made it even better.
Oh, no doubt. Absolutely. What I love about the game, first of all, when it starts up, when it's it's loading up, the opening, like the logos for the company and everything are done in VHS style graphics, like poor tracking. You see the track lines, and it's 4:3 ratio, so very 80s like. And in the game, when Jason gets close to you, the game starts to skip like an old VHS tape would when the tracking was off.
Yes.
So a lot of that
freaky.
Oh, totally. A lot of that little items is what really makes the game fun. There's like what was it, like 6 or 7 different Jasons?
Yeah, they pulled different versions of Jason from different movies. So like there's the one from like
you start out with part 3.
Yeah, is it part 3? You start out with part 3 where he's wearing like a bag over his head, or like
that's part 2. That's unlocked. That's a part 2 that's unlocked later. When you first buy the game, you're just traditional Jason from part 3, which I guess is the first time he wore the hockey mask.
Yeah, well, 3 he was wearing like the bag, and then he finds the mask.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay,
he switches. So that's why I thought it was. That's why I was thinking it was 3.
But you can unlock the bag. Yeah.
Yeah, you can unlock the one where he just wears the bag. There's the part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, Jason, which was really cool. He definitely part 8 was probably one of the, was it 8 or 7? No, it was 8. Yeah, Jason Takes Manhattan was one of the ones where he had some of the coolest death scenes, like the murder scenes in that one.
Okay,
really awesome, because it was a cruise ship full of like people. It was like a cruise ship full of it was like a high school cruise or whatever it was. So it was just like. It was just awesome.
I think when he knocked the guy's head off.
Yes, that's the one. That's when he knocked. Yeah, he just punched the guy's head off. And speaking of punching somebody's head off, we can talk a little bit about Jason's powers that you can unlock, because as you play more, you actually level up and get points, competitive points, so that you can unlock special abilities for the counselors and Jason. So, for example, you can unlock moves for Jason. So you can punch somebody's head off with one shot, or you can squeeze their head until it pops.
If you're squeamish out there, be careful, folks.
So yeah, I mean, just all around. I mean, we played like 2 or 3 games, right? And the first game was really just a trial where actually, of course, the drawback to playing any online game is going to be people's tendency to drop out of it.
Yeah, we started with like 6 players, and then we were down to just us 2, which one-on-one, the game is not that good. You got to really have, I mean, unless it boils down to one-on-one, but to start the game like that, you really got to have at least maybe 4 or 5 people playing.
Yeah, you definitely need a good handful of people, because it's no fun if you're just like trying to track down one person. Yeah. But as with all online play, it's like it's just a natural tendency. Like people will drop out of a game in the middle of it, or their internet gets interrupted, so they drop out of a game. So it's just one of those things. It's a really cool game to have if you have a group of friends who all want to play. So like us, like we have a lot of friends who love Friday the 13th. So there are going to be a whole bunch of us playing it. It'll be great because you can do a private game with just your group.
Mm-hmm. Oh, totally. And it's like it's like when we used to play Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2. We'd all get together and just play. And another zombie, not another zombie, but it's a zombie type game. If you've never played those were awesome on Xbox 360. I remember one time with Left 4 Dead, we played. It's a 4-player game, 4-player co-op, and it plays like a movie. And I don't know if you remember this, Ann. There was 8 of us playing. So 4 of us played one game. 4 of us was playing a separate game, but all 8 of us was in the same chat. So trying to talk to each other's teams was absolutely useless.
Oh yeah, no, that made no sense whatsoever. But that's kind of how we do things. We don't like to make sense.
No, of course. And we got to figure out a way when we play this to do the chat where like if we're Jason, but I guess it's going to be hard to do. Like if you're Jason, like to not be on the chat. Yeah.
That way the counselors can talk to each other.
Did you see it's not a bad thing, but apparently when Friday the 13th was on Kickstarter, one of the perks, what do they call them? Perks, rewards. Yeah. One of the rewards you can get as being a backer was like they called it the Savini Jason. Basically this like a Uber Jason who just looked sick. I pulled it up on my phone. I'm going to show Ant.
Oh, that looks awesome.
Yeah. And had like souped up powers, like over the top ridiculous. But they've gone on record and saying, unless you were a backer, there is no way you're getting him. He's not going to be a future download. He's not going to be a future purchase.
Bummer.
Which I like that idea because then it makes it special for the backers.
Yep.
But yeah, he looks nasty. Not from any Jason movie ever before. So.
All right, that's really cool. So yeah, I'm big fan of that.
Oh yeah. Overall, Friday the 13th, yeah, it's a new game, but you know what? We're gamers at heart, and this one's gonna be a fun one to play.
Yeah. So every once in a while, just to our listeners out there, I mean, yes, 99% of the time we'll talk retro gaming, but you know what? We got to let some of the new ones creep in too. I mean, I've been holding my tongue about Breath of the Wild pretty much for every episode because I've been playing that like crazy. So
I gotta stop playing that. I'm
so awesome.
I might as well just start it over.
I am almost ready to take on Ganon.
Wow, holy cow. All right, that's it. I really got to pick it up. I've been playing a lot of Mario Kart anyway, so I like that.
I have yet to put any other game in my Switch.
Well, we got to play Bomberman. I bought Bomberman just for the online play.
I still haven't played it.
So, and side note, online play, in 2018, Nintendo announced their online service. We could talk about this more maybe in a future episode. But like Xbox, and I think like PlayStation, online Nintendo, you can only play online with a paid subscription.
Yes, I heard about that now. That happened to me yesterday with Friday the 13th. I had to redo my Xbox Live Gold membership just so I can play with you guys.
It's worth it in the end. You get free games and stuff like that. So.
No. At the end of the day, I'm not complaining. It's just that I think I had gone almost a year without renewing it because I barely turn on my Xbox. I'm usually I mean, when I do have a little bit of free time, I'm usually retro gaming.
Yeah, I don't even renew. I don't put it on auto renew. If I got to renew pretty much every Christmas, and that's usually when deals are anyway. It's like they go on sale. So,
Well, yeah, the one I just did was a 15-month deal for less. I think it was like $50.
Oh, that's not bad.
No, because it's usually $60 for 12.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, not bad at all.
Yep.
Cool. Well, there you go, folks. Friday the 13th, the game. Check it out on Xbox One, PS4, and Steam. Retro gamers, we play on Xbox One, and maybe you'll see us online and check us out. Friday the 13th, the game. All right. So this summer, we got this all over the country, let alone here on Long Island, out in L.A. We got some expos happening which involve tournaments. Tournaments are really starting to come back as far as retro gaming tournaments. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I actually think they've been. I think they've been happening longer than we realize because retro gaming is not exactly a new concept. I mean, we're talking about 30, 40 years of gaming history at this point now. So, yeah, and it's kind of cool to see that they're becoming relevant in that sense of like expos, conventions, and of course now tournaments. You see a lot of speed run. The speed runs that people do, and they raise money when they do those speed runs, which is kind of cool.
No, those things are cool. I like that. Yeah, no, the speed runs, and just general tournaments. And we're not talking about like just one-on-one tournaments, just playing games in general tournament.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just a cool thing. I know. While we were discussing what we were gonna talk about on the show today. We were talking about the Long Island Expo in August that I'm going to be coming in for, and I know they have a few tournaments on their docket. I'm hoping we have a little time to play some.
I hope so too. There's what did I say? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18 games are going to be played tournament style. And first of all, before we get into that, let's give them a shout out. That's the Long Island Retro Gaming Expo 2017. So if you're on Long Island in August, definitely come check them out. It's a great show. It's a great time had by all. It's August 12th and August 13th at the Cradle of Aviation Museum, Garden City, New York. Anthony's flying in. He's got all that. He's got all those miles logged from Japan. You might as well use them.
Yeah, no, man. I mean, let me tell you something. Flying back and forth to Japan, I mean, trust me, it's a long flight, and yeah, it hurts. But let me tell you, in the span of 4 months, I went from a no-name at American Airlines to executive platinum.
That's awesome. Sweet.
Yep. So I mean, it's just amazing what 6 trips to Japan will do. And and I have another one coming up in 2 weeks, so I just get to pad those. Frequent flyer miles.
Can you share those frequent flyer miles? Would you be able to gift them to anybody?
No.
I guess I'm flying coach to LA one day. Okay.
They're mine.
So with the Cradle of Aviation Museum, again, we'll host the Long Island Retro Gaming Expo 2017. Tickets available, expo.liretro.com. Single day tickets for adults, $20. Children, 2 through 12, $10. You can get 2-day pass, $30 and $15 respectively, and the single-day passes will be available at the door, but they will be $5 more, so might as well buy them ahead of time. Buy them online, and you get yourselves in not only to purchase some cool stuff. There's going to be a lot of awesome vendors selling some sweet merch. We're going to be there walking around, checking everything out. We're going to be doing a podcast from there.
That'll be fun.
Check us out. And there's going to be some tournaments, a couple of ones with some high deal information with them. Let me see here. So there's with 18 games happening, just to name a couple of the tournaments that the Long Island Retro is going to have.
Which ones catch your eye? I.e., which ones do you want to play?
Yeah, because so I'm looking at Tetris.
I definitely want to play that one.
I'm looking at Mario Kart 64.
Ooh, yes.
I may even like to get my hands on Tetris Attack, because that's essentially Tetris 2, which was Pokemon Puzzle League.
Oh, okay. All right. So I officially have about a little over 2 months to get my Tetris skills up to snuff. I'm very confident with my Mario Kart 64 playing because I was awesome in that game.
Well, they also have Super Mario Kart Battle. So the Super Nintendo version.
Oh my god, I
mode.
love that battle. Yep. That battle is awesome. Didn't they add that to the Switch one?
Yes, they did. Yep, Switch now has battle mode. Yep.
Definitely need to play that.
Marvel vs. Capcom 2 catches my eye, and so
I will get slaughtered in that.
So is GoldenEye, actually.
Nope.
And there's a ton of them, but one more to mention here: NHL '94 on Genesis.
That is the best NHL game ever made.
See, I'm going to challenge you with NHL PA 93, but that's okay.
I'll go with NHL. No.
Fair enough.
94. Gotta go with 94.
And you got to see, each game has, there's special rule set for the tournament. You can't just go in and play. Like, for example, Tetris. Here's the rule. It's a single elimination, and the match will play in Type A mode.
Okay.
So that's just traditional Tetris.
Yep.
Starting at level 5.
Okay, that makes sense.
And the first player, I guess, is they do 2-player mode. First player to the top, who tops out loses. So as you traditionally would.
Oh, so it's not score?
No, it's probably just going to be 1-on-1. You know, it's like a bracket, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
And then just whoever tops out loses.
Oh, well, what's to stop people from quote-unquote cheating?
Well, some of these games do limit you with what you can do as far as...
Okay, because I was going to say, like, when I think of cheating, in other words, like, you know how you can speed up how a piece moves down?
Yeah.
So if I'm playing against somebody, what's to stop me from not doing that and just letting the piece fall slowly?
Oh, well, no, that's
the faster...
cheating.
Yeah, it kind of is. Because the faster you get to another level... the faster the pieces come down. So if I just let the pieces fall slowly on level 5 and the other guy's just letting them drop really quickly, he'll be out way before I am. So.
That's strategy. Like, we're talking like affecting the... Like, there's a Mortal Kombat 2 tournament, and they say game-breaking glitches are banned. Because you can do something that will, like, break the game, sort of, will get you through a move. Those are banned. So if it's just a notion in the game or a mechanic, hey, all's fair in love and war at that point.
All right, cool. So can we request in the tournament to go against each other?
I don't know how that would work.
That would be awesome. Or what if we magically wound up being the finalists?
There you go. Then everyone would accuse us of making our way to the finals.
Collusion.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, absolute collusion.
So, no, there's a ton of tournaments here. It's pretty cool. Check it out at the website. Again, expo.laretro.com.
But those are not the only tournaments going on in the United States, Larry.
No, I was going to say, yeah, there's some other tournaments, right? You stumbled upon a couple.
Yeah, while I was doing, my research for today's episode, because I'm very thorough in my research, I happened to come across the Retro World Series, which apparently started last year, and they have last year, the 2016 Retro World Series, there were 12 tournaments at the main event, and there were 13 satellite tournaments that went on.
Really?
And the location, there were only 2 states, I guess, it looks like, at the time that last year that did it. So it was in Wisconsin. There were 2 different locations in Wisconsin and then 4 different locations in Texas, with the main event tournament happening in Houston. And this was in August of last year.
Okay.
Now, this year, they've announced it's, again, just 2 states. One of the events has already happened. 3 events in Texas, and then we have one happening in Arizona. So for anybody who's interested in looking up this information, and this is going to be end of July, early August. There's the Classic Game Fest in Austin, Texas, the Let's Play Gaming Expo in Irving, Texas, and then the Game On Expo in Phoenix, Arizona. So those are the 3 that are left to come. The one that actually already happened was the South Texas Comic-Con in McAllen, Texas. Okay. So the cool thing is that they have this whole schedule, and there are a number of different tournaments that happen in the actual, at the actual event. So for example, at the South Texas one, the tournaments included Super Smash Brothers, the original, Pokemon,
what?
Street Fighter Alpha 2, Mario Kart 64,
nice,
and Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3.
Wow. Okay.
Not only that, but they had a whole bunch of other games, which included Popeye for NES.
Nice.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2.
Okay.
Spider-Man Maximum Carnage.
Oh man, good games.
And Captain America and the Avengers.
Ooh, I haven't played that one in a while.
RoboCop versus Terminator.
All right.
So those were some of the more minor games that happened. But the main ones were the ones I pointed out, which are like Super Smash Brothers, Mario Kart, and all that stuff.
Those are usually ones that get the tournament play anyway.
Yep, and it was a true tournament play, as in bracketed single elimination tournament style. So until you got to the champion. So for example, for Super Smash Brothers, our South Texas champion went by Big Papi Chulo.
All right, Big Papi Chulo, congratulations.
So I guess he will go on to the I would assume he would go on to the World Series Finals.
Sweet.
So I mean, I'm not exactly 100% sure on how all of it works for them, but it's open to any age. If if somebody wants to play and they're under 18, you just need a parent or guardian to sign a form. So the maximum number of participants for each tournament is 256 participants.
Wow.
So it's large, but when you break it down, that's a nice even number, 256 to 128 to 64.
No, true. I'm just saying though. Wow, that's a lot of people. It's a big tournament.
Yep. So it's a huge tournament. The main event one I'm assuming will be this year at the Game On Expo, because that's the last. More coming soon. So I'm assuming there are going to be more listed. Mm-hmm. These are just the 4 that they have so far.
Okay.
So just gotta keep looking on their website for more information. So, but again, it's just one of those things where it's nice to see these things popping up. Granted, I wish one of these was happening near me, and hopefully, they'll announce that one's happening near me.
Yeah, right.
Because I would definitely love to join in. I mean, who doesn't? To be honest with you, I would go in to play Popeye.
That's a weird. Like, I'm trying to figure out even I guess Pokemon, because you can play against each other in Pokemon. I was trying to figure out how that worked. But Popeye, that's. Let me ask you this. That actually brings up a point. Would you prefer a tournament, though, to be one-on-one, where, it's just there is a clear winner or loser? Or do you think it would be better if it was all about the high score?
It depends on the game. Kind of to your point, like for the Long Island Gaming Expo. Yeah. For Tetris, I would rather it be high score instead of who loses first is out. Mm-hmm. Because of the fact of, like I said, there are ways where you can prolong the game. Mm-hmm. So that would just be my preference for that. When you have a game like a Mario Kart or Super Smash Brothers, it's just, to me, I think it's last. Yeah, well, no, at that point it's last man standing, whoever comes in first. Well, that's not true, because in Super Smash Brothers you can win the bout, but they also have scores, don't they? Or is it just no? They don't.
No. I don't think they have scores. No.
All right. Yeah. So then in those cases, it's just whoever comes in first. So it all depends on which game.
Okay.
Tetris for me, it would be score.
Okay. I think I'd prefer. I would prefer a tournament that involves scores as opposed to one-on-one. Not saying there's anything wrong with the one-on-one tournaments. It's just me being a gamer. I'm better off shooting for a high score than I am to try and defeat someone at a one-on-one game. That's me personally. And I know a lot of people are going to think otherwise. They'd rather do like a Street Fighter type game. Retro's going to have Marvel's Capcom 2 there and stuff.
Oh no!
Uh-oh, what's the matter?
I found something out very interesting, Larry, that you're going to love.
Uh-oh.
At the Let's Play Retro Gaming Expo in Irving, Texas on August 5th and 6th, you're going to have to go. Because
give me some of those travel points.
They are having, and it says here, backed by popular demand, if you can even fathom this concept, they are doing a Virtual Boy tournament.
Oh, what?
Yep.
How can they even broadcast that?
Well, here you go. Backed by popular demand, 2-player wall-projected Virtual Boy. Wall projected.
Oh, that's
so. This is great. So if you hadn't heard, and I'm sure you haven't heard, and nobody listening to this podcast has heard, because the Virtual Boy is, the absolute cesspool of a system that that should be sitting at the bottom of the Mariana Trench.
I had to explain. Who was I? I was explaining to someone the other day. Oh, 2 days ago. Hold on. All right. I was explaining to someone the Virtual Boy. I went out. This is going to get a little local. Out here on Friday night, Mulcahy's in Wanto, New York, had 80s versus 90s night at the bar.
Okay.
And it was 80s music versus 90s music. Two bands. Actually, great bands. It was 80s music was the Ronald Reagans, and 90s music was the 90s band. Both of them were fantastic. Great. I want to shout out to them. The good stuff. So, but before all that started, I was meeting up because I went with my cousin and her husband. So I was meeting up with some of her friends from work, and this guy came over. We were just talking, nice guy. And he asked me what I do. And it was kind of like the first time I was like, well, I work here and I'm a podcaster. So that felt like fun, just dropping that note. So I started explaining the retro gamers, and, you know, as everyone's like, oh, I remember playing Nintendo, Genesis, Master System, whatever. So I was telling about the recurring, I like to call it a joke, but the recurring segment of Virtual Boy.
Joke? What joke are we talking about?
Because no one can have that much hatred in their heart for a video game system.
Look, you know what? When it comes to the Virtual Boy, I have a very special black spot in my heart for it.
So, okay? Well, then you'll love this. He goes, "What's that?"
Which makes me laugh. I wish I was there because I would have been like, it's the worst video game system ever created. It's the cockroach of video games.
Wow, I didn't go that far. Look, I'll admit it was not a success. So it was a bad system. I'll admit that part, but I still enjoyed it. So I was trying to explain it to him.
The thing about the cockroach of consoles.
So
that's what
I'm trying to explain to him at first how it looks, and he wasn't comprehending, because it's very hard to comprehend what the Virtual Boy should look like, because you would think it's something that you wear on your head when, as we all know, you put it on the table. So finally I broke out a photo of it, and when he looked at it, he's like, how did that sell? I'm like, not good at all. Lasted less than a year. So it was I'm introducing new people to the Virtual Boy, and right off the bat they're realizing how bad it was.
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, it's perfectly fine, because I'm very happy to fill that segment on our show, since I do hate it so much. And not only, and let's be fair, everybody I talk to hates it equally. So wow. You are in a world of your own.
Yeah,
Larry.
I haven't found anyone yet. Go ahead though. There's a tournament.
Well, apparently, I'm telling you right now that there are people in Texas who like the Virtual Boy. So you need to go join those 3 people and just get together.
I knew I liked Texas
because I think you're the only ones in existence that like the Virtual Boy. So anyway, so I'm reading this now, and if you hadn't heard, someone ported Street Fighter 2 to the Virtual Boy.
What?
Yep, somebody ported Street Fighter 2 to the Virtual Boy. So last year, the Let's Play Gaming Expo was the first, as they know it, to do a public demonstration of the game, because somebody donated 2 copies of the game. Mm-hmm. Okay? So now what they did was they sent one of their Virtual Boys to France. They shipped their Virtual Boy to France to get it modded so it had video output capability.
Wow.
So now what they're able to do is they're able to project the Virtual Boy onto a wall.
Holy cow.
So that's why they're doing a Virtual Boy tournament. Now, they do add a disclaimer. It says, compete at your own risk. The Nintendo Virtual Boy is urban legendly known for causing headaches. Let's Play Gaming Expo is not responsible for any ailments or damages caused by using the Nintendo Virtual Boy to fight the fact that nobody has had any issues last year.
It does have an auto pause feature in the Virtual Boy, if you didn't know about it.
And my problem with the Virtual Boy is I don't even need to play it. Just when I see it, I get a headache.
Look, not my fault you can't see 3D, okay?
Okay. I can see 3D just fine. I see 3D just fine. The Virtual Boy was not 3D. It was like suck-D. I don't even know what to call it. I have no idea. But it was terrible.
Well, I'm going to Texas now.
You need to go to Irving, Texas, August 5th and 6th, and play Street Fighter 2 in the Virtual Boy tournament.
I just want to see what that looks like. That sounds sweet. All right, we're going to check. I'm going to somehow check that out. Someone set up a GoFundMe page. Get me someone donate money so I can get tickets. Round trip, mind you, to Houston.
I think you need to go.
First time.
You have to go.
August 5th and 6th. I got to make sure I'm not busy. Those dates sound familiar.
Well, it's the week before. It's the week before Long Island Retro Gaming
Expo. True. Yes, It's going to be a busy August, people.
It is. It's also somebody's birthday.
That's why. Why do I keep forgetting about him on this show?
You're going to interview him next week. I would strongly suggest you don't forget these pieces of information.
Holy cow. Okay, thank you for reminding me on that. Yes. All right, well, we'll get there when we get there. Oh, folks, tune in next week.
Take him with you.
It's going to be a wild show next week. I'm telling you right now.
I cannot wait.
So check out local tournaments near you. If you have a local video game tournament near you, listen, post it on the Facebook page. Facebook.com/RetroGamersPodcast. Yep. Spread the word. Spread the love.
Yep. And if it's in New York or LA, Larry and I will show up separately, of course.
Yeah, but for now. But yeah, no, we love our tournaments and we love our retro gaming. All this talks about tournaments. Let's talk about one of the biggest tournaments that we can remember as kids in New York. And it's funny because me and Anthony, back in 1990, we were both at the Jacob Javits Center. We were both at a Nintendo competition, and we didn't know about it because we didn't meet till about, 5 years later?
We met in,
right? I was a freshman. So I had
to be
94, 95.
You were a freshman. Was that 1994?
Yeah, I was a freshman
93.
in 94. No, I was a freshman in 94.
Yeah, so we met like 94, 95. Yeah, so I've been a tortured soul for all these years.
How dare you?
Knowing you.
I was mugged the first day I went to your house. You remember this?
Yes, we've talked about this on the show. And you know what? I mean, if I tried desperately to get rid of you after that first day, but apparently that just didn't work.
So, but we both were at, and we probably, who knows, we may have run into each other. We may have crossed each other's path. But we were at the 1990 Nintendo Power Fest at the Jacob Javits Center in New York City.
That is correct. And it's funny since, we seem to be talking about tournaments a lot today. I decided that, for our Retro Spotlight this week, because our Retro Spotlight now, it's been spanning, it's not just about video games. Like we've talked about other things.
Yeah,
like, we talked about a console, and I thought, why not cover something really cool? And the Nintendo World Championships of 1990 was like the biggest deal. So, and it happened at PowerFest at the Jacob Javits Center. Now, do you remember anything specific from PowerFest? Because I remember there were a couple of things I remember fondly.
I remember. Here's what. Now I was 10, so it is a long time ago.
And I was 11, going on 12, if I remember correctly.
Yep. So I remember it was me, my parents, and my uncle. I remember playing the only game I remember playing was Fester's Quest.
Wow.
I know I probably played other games. But
NES
Fester's Quest, yeah. I think I may have played Tetris on Game Boy, but I just remember a lot of long lines, and being a 10-year-old, you're very impatient.
Mm-hmm.
I do remember that you only had like 5 minutes to play the games, because then just out of nowhere, they would all reset at the same time, automatically.
Yes.
That meant you had to move on.
Yeah, they definitely had it set up.
Yeah.
Properly.
And I remember the far end of the convention center was the giant stage and the setup for the actual tournament, what we know now as the Nintendo World Championship 1990, which I had a ticket for, but I was a little too shy to actually want to compete. So I never actually competed in the tournament, and I'm sure my parents were very upset for even buying me the ticket.
Well, if I remember correctly, the ticket to enter the tournament was like $10.
Oh, all right.
So,
no, I don't remember.
Yeah, so mom and dad were out
like
$10, and the only reason why I remember that is because I went to PowerFest as well,
mm-hmm.
And my dad took me.
Okay.
And I remember playing a lot of different games. Specifically, actually, PowerFest was the first time I ever played Tetris.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
I didn't know. Yeah, Tetris wasn't a thing for me because, remember, Tetris came out on Game Boy, and I didn't have a Game Boy.
Did Tetris come out on Game Boy first before the NES? I guess so, right? Maybe.
I can't say that for certain.
Or at least, who knows, it wasn't on your radar. So
yeah, in other words, like Tetris literally hit my radar after PowerFest. Like I went out and got Tetris for NES after that. So I think it was on NES first. But it just wasn't, again, when I was at that age when I was a kid, I was playing Mario, I was playing Zelda, I was playing games like that. I wasn't thinking about a puzzle game necessarily. Yeah. And then I discovered Tetris at the PowerFest. But I just remember like walking into the Javits Center and just seeing just the setup itself was just like I was in complete awe. I was like, here it was. It was gaming mecca. I mean, you just look around. They had like every single game you can think of at a station. And of course, to your point, there were a lot of long lines for games. Some games, I'm sure the reason why you played Fester's Quest is because there was no line.
Yeah, I think there really was a short line.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, it's like you would walk up to the ones that have the shortest line. But I remember for Tetris, they had Game Boys lined up just with Tetris.
Yep.
It was a long line of Tetris, and the reason why was because Tetris was part of the Nintendo World Championships.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember specifically, my dad bought me a ticket for the tournament.
Okay.
And I did play. And I do fondly remember he actually, and I was talking, I had mentioned this to you offline, but he took photos of me while I was actually playing in the tournament. So there are pictures of me.
Really?
Or, let me rephrase that. There are pictures of my back, my 11-year-old back, and the screen in front of me as I was playing.
Oh, you got to find those.
I have to find those photos because, God, oh, man, that was so awesome. And suffice to say, I did not qualify to move on in the tournament. But it was also literally when I played in the championship, I knew Super Mario Brothers and I knew Rad Racer.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the first time I played Tetris was in the tournament. So I had no idea what I was doing.
It's not like they gave you the rules, I don't think. Like they gave you a basic idea. Points.
They gave it. No, it was just they gave you the run through of what you needed to do, which was you needed to collect 50 coins in Super Mario Brothers. You needed to complete a lap of Rad Racer, and then whatever amount of time you had left was all devoted to Tetris, and the highest scores moved on. So the tournament lasted, or at least that leg of the tournament, it was 6 minutes and 21 seconds long. I don't know why it was 6 minutes 21 seconds.
It was always odd times, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if they had timed that out because like Rad Racer takes this long, Mario should take about this long, whatever it is. But the point was, when I played it through the first time, I didn't know Tetris. So like I was learning on the fly. So needless to say, I lost. And then I asked my dad, I was like, I want to play again. And, he kind of ho-hummed it a little bit. Mm-hmm. But then I was like, I want to play again. I was like, but I want to get better at Tetris. So I went over to those Game Boys and I just moved down the line. I was playing Tetris for probably like half an hour to 45 minutes.
Oh, my God.
On those Game Boys. And there's my dad. Now, my dad can't do anything because I'm a kid, so he can't leave me.
Yeah.
So he's either standing behind me or eventually he kind of walked up and like played a little.
Yeah.
But he was just there waiting for me to like master Tetris. And then I'm like, all right, I'm good. Let's go. Got another ticket, went back into the tournament and lost anyway.
Oh, man. So you had 2 shots at it.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable.
I had 2 shots at it. But you know what? I mean, God, that was just so amazing. And I do remember that I was still at the PowerFest when I think I was still at the PowerFest when the guy won. Like when they announced the regional champion for New York.
That, yeah.
And I was just like sneering at him. I'm like, oh, cheater! I don't like you. Because there were actually 3 different. There were 3 different age groups for champions.
Yes, there were. Yeah, I was probably there maybe an hour or so. Yep. My attention span back then was it's little now. It was barely existent back then. So I remember when we left. Remember the odd shaped Mario brother that were there? Like Mario and Luigi were there, guys in costumes. But they were just like they were almost like symmetrical, not symmetrical, what's a cylinder shape. They were very weird looking Mario and Luigi. I remember they gave out when you were leaving, they gave out free Luigi dolls, not even Mario dolls.
Yep.
You got a Luigi doll. So I remember getting the Luigi doll, and then And then we'll move on to the.
Well, you also got to remember costume characters back then maybe were just kind of creepy.
Oh, totally. Yeah, all in general.
But I also do you remember Mr. Nintendo? He was an employee at Nintendo. There was a guy at Nintendo, and if you read the book Console Wars, which I gave a review for last week, his name was Howard Phillips, and he became the face of Nintendo.
Okay, no, I know him. I didn't realize he was called Mr. Nintendo.
Well, he was called something like that or whatever.
But I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. For a while. Yeah. So, I remember he was if I remember correctly, he was at Javits that day. Because they brought him, if I remember correctly, they brought him up on stage.
Yes, I think I may have seen.
So,
I remember they had like a separate stage on the side, not even the main stage. I think I remember like a separate performance stage on the side or something where they may have done like interviews or something.
But I remember him. I could have sworn he was on the main stage. I could have sworn, but I could be wrong. But anyway, so, but it was just one of those things where it was like, wow, you felt like this was such a big deal, and to be honest, and it was. I mean, this was like the biggest video game championship, of all time, so to speak. And it may still be considered one of the biggest video game championships of all time because these things, they don't exactly happen that often.
No. I mean, I don't really remember one like for Sega or TurboGrafx or anything like that. Nintendo was such a juggernaut, especially back then. Tour the country, do a tournament, why not? On a quick side note, the biggest celebrity I ran into that day was a young.
It wasn't Luigi?
No, it was Rudy Giuliani. Way before he was mayor of New York.
Well, what was he at the time?
He was. I think he was probably doing. I think he was getting ready to run for mayor because I think he lost once to Dinkins. I mean,
I was gonna say he had to be somewhere at that point, like in his career.
Here's how this all turns about. So me and my parents and my uncle afterwards we go to a restaurant bar type thing in the city. If you remember the show Spin City, remember the bar that you used to always go to?
Yes.
That's a real place, and that's where we went to, and that's where we saw Rudy Giuliani. I didn't know who he was, but I remember my dad going, Rudy Giuliani, there's your future mayor. So,
well, and your dad was right.
As usual, he's definitely right on all that stuff. So I remember that was the biggest celebrity that we ran into that day.
I do not remember running into any celebrities aside from Mario and Luigi. So
yes, I remember Luigi more than Mario. I don't remember really seeing Mario was probably too busy actually doing stuff, and Luigi was too busy working the floor.
I was more curious as to where Fred Savage was.
That was.
Why wasn't he there?
He was too busy trying to find his brother, heading to California.
Yeah, you know what? I have some news for you. He was already there.
That is true. Liars.
Bunch of liars. Stupid films. Hey, but you know what?
Jimmy Woods.
Yeah, the Wizard has to go down as one of the but it's still. I mean, when you think about it, one of the best video game movies of all time.
Oh, totally, absolutely. I'll put it up against Resident Evil any day of the week.
Good Lord, but I mean because we've been and because we were talking about tournaments and everything like that, and I knew we were going to discuss Power Fest because we were both there. And it is funny that we were both there. And there was no way we were going to bump into each other, of course, because we were complete strangers, and I wish we still were. But so just kidding. We wouldn't have a podcast then.
No, not at all. We wouldn't be here.
But I actually thought it would be a good idea to do a retro spotlight on the actual Nintendo World Championships because it was such a big event in the history of video gaming, and it is it qualifies for retro gaming.
Absolutely.
So, at least it does now. When it was back then, that was the art. And so let's just roll right into our retro spotlight for the Nintendo World Championships.
Let's do it.
So, if you haven't realized it yet, the Nintendo World Championships was a video game competition organized solely by Nintendo.
Okay.
The inauguration of the championships was on March 8th, 1990. It started in Dallas, Texas.
Oh, okay.
That was the first location at the Fair Parks Automobile Building in Dallas, Texas.
Did it say Automobile Expo?
No, Automobile Building.
Okay.
And it wound up touring through 29 different cities before we got to the final championship in Los Angeles, California, of course.
Los Angeles, California.
So, and then, and we're talking about like, major cities in the country. It wasn't, so like, they were in Cleveland, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Detroit, Boston, New York City, obviously, Hartford, Chicago, Houston,
wow,
Cincinnati, Milwaukee, Los Angeles twice. They did 2 weeks in Los Angeles before they did the finals.
Figures.
And then New Orleans, Atlanta, Miami, Tampa, New Jersey. Not a city of New Jersey, just New Jersey.
Just all of New Jersey.
So anyway, so as I was saying earlier, then what happened in the Nintendo World Championships is anybody could play. You just had to buy a ticket into the tournament, and it was basically the highest score would, whoever had the highest score would move on. And then these were basically regional qualifiers for the main tournament, which was going to happen in Los Angeles. So at the end of the year. So it consisted of playing 3 games: Super Mario Brothers, Rad Racer, and Tetris.
Okay.
You had 6 minutes and 21 seconds to get the highest score you could.
Your time.
Mario and Rad Racer were limited to what you needed to do. So Mario was you needed to collect 50 coins as quickly as you possibly could. Rad Racer was you needed to complete a lap as quickly as you possibly could. And then however much time left you had, you played Tetris and got as many points as you could. And then obviously they kept going until they had, a winner for New York City.
Mm-hmm.
So, or not New York City, for all of the cities.
Yeah,
you had your regional qualifiers, they would go to the finals. Okay. So there were 3 different age groups that you could play in. The first age group was 11 and below, which at that time we would have been in the same age group. Because I don't think I wasn't 12 yet. So,
okay.
We would have competed against each other.
Possibly.
So, it was 11 and below, and then 12 to 17.
Okay.
And then 18 and up.
Gotcha.
Those were your 3. So then basically what would happen is obviously the best players would win. Anybody who became a finalist would be considered the city champion of their location. They won a trophy. The city champion would get a trophy. So all 3 people would get a trophy. And they would get a trip for 2 to the World Finals at Universal Studios Hollywood in LA.
Very cool.
Yep. And just so you know, the runners-up received a Power Pad and a Game Boy.
Oh, man. Okay. Power Pad. What?
Yeah, I know. So anyway, the finals, the World Finals in Los Angeles were held between it was December 7th, 8th, and 9th.
Oh, that was pretty much ran all year.
1990.
Okay.
And they basically ran. Yeah, so this thing ran all year. It started March 8th, ended December 9th, 1990. It took place at Universal Studios Hollywood in the Star Trek Theater. The Star Trek Theater was actually in the theme park. It's now known as the Shrek 4D attraction.
Okay.
Before it was the Star Trek Theater. So the contestants played a special Nintendo World Championship cartridge, which I'll talk about in a few moments because there's something special, about that if you know anything about this thing.
Oh, yeah.
The cartridge consisted, again, it was the same thing. It was the same mini games: Mario Brothers, Rad Racer, Tetris. And then based on the regional champions, they all competed against each other until there was only one world champion for each age group. So who were these world champions? So for the 11 and under category, the champion's name was Jeff Hansen.
Oh, okay.
The 12 through 17 category went to Thor Ackerland.
Thor.
Thor. The mighty Thor. And then for the adult category, 18 and over, went to Robert Whiteman.
All right. Quick question.
Yes.
If you would have won the New York City Championship, you were 11. By the time you would have gotten to the finals, you would have been 12.
That's true, but I don't know what they would have done with that. It would have been.
They would have disqualified you.
It would have been a glitch in the system.
You would have brought down the entire thing.
The whole world champion. You know what though? That would have been awesome because then I probably would have had like a blurb in Console Wars. They'd be like, everything was going well with the Nintendo World Championships until Anthony showed up and fell out of his age bracket.
Okay, awesome. Moving right along.
Well, no, because Yeah, anyway, so that's one of the things that I like about the tournament. So what did the winner get? Like the actual winners, like these three guys, what did they win? They won a $10,000 savings bond, which is
Wow.
pretty damn cool, especially when you're under 11. For Jeff.
Yeah.
You won a 40-inch rear projection television.
Good. Back then, those things were big time.
This one's my favorite, though. You won a brand new 1990 Geo Metro convertible, which is what the car was in. I think it was the car in Rad Racer, basically, like the look of their car.
Was, yeah.
And you won a gold-painted Mario trophy. Now, here's my question. What did the 11 and under champion do with a 1990 Geo Metro convertible?
Their parents would have been very happy, probably.
Their parents would have been very happy until they found out they had to pay the taxes.
Honestly. Can you just get the cash value? Like, doesn't that happen with prizes even today? Like, if you don't want the prize, just give you, like, the equivalent cash value?
No.
Oh, all right, never mind.
In fact,
you would know.
No, I know. I just had a conversation with a friend of mine about that for Price is Right, because he knew somebody who went on and won a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
And it was just a little side note. It was Car Week, like Dream Car Week.
Oh, okay.
So he didn't. So the prize he was supposed to be up for was a Ferrari.
Ooh.
He did not win it. But the cost of the Ferrari was like $205,000.
Wow.
Okay. Had he won the car, he would have had to pay $82,000 in taxes. Here's the catch, though. When you go to claim your prize,
yeah,
you have to pay the taxes before you take it.
You have to pay the whole thing up front?
You have to pay it to take the prize. So basically what happens is you win the car, you walk over there, they're like, you have to pay $82,000 in taxes. If you turn around and tell them, I don't have the money, then you have to decline the prize.
Wow. Whoa, that is nuts. Like, not even a payment plan, at least? I mean, look, getting a Ferrari for $82,000 is not bad at all, but to pay it all up front, that's a lot putting on your card in one shot.
You got to pay that. You got to pay the taxes, or, well, I mean, my strategy would have been very simple, and I told my friend this. I would have gone to my bank, got a loan for the $82,000.
Yeah.
I would have been like, look, I'm going to pay this back in like a week.
Sell the car.
Paid off the taxes, got the car from the dealer, and sell it right back to them. I'd be like, I just paid you $80,000 for taxes. I go, I am now selling it back to you for like $20,000 less than what it is, and I'll just walk away with the difference.
There you go. That's why you're there.
So getting back to the Nintendo World Championships after the sidebar. So that's what everybody won, including the Geo Metro convertible. Of course, a Geo Metro convertible was not a $200,000 car.
Absolutely not.
So now the question is, what about the cartridges? Because Nintendo had to make special cartridges for this event. Now, for the regular tournament, they had like these gray Nintendo World Championship cartridges, and they made like about a little over 100 of these.
Okay.
But then they had a special gold cartridge that they only made 26 of, and they were I'm assuming they were for the finals only. And the only thing on the cartridge was this 6-minute and 21-second version of Mario Rad Racer and Tetris. So
I just want real quick. I believe the gold cartridges actually were more a prize in a Nintendo Power magazine.
Oh no,
yeah.
Oh, is that what they were?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, right. And the gray cartridges, my mistake. The gray cartridges were actually given to the finalists after the championship. That was one of their prizes.
Gotcha.
And Nintendo Power, you are correct. Nintendo Power gave those out. That was my mistake. So the cool thing about the cartridge today is that because only 26 of them exist, they are ridiculously rare. And you'll read a lot of articles. Yeah, you'll read a lot of articles about how hard it is to get your hands on one of these. Because again, think about it. I mean, there were only 26 made, and we don't know if all 26 even exist anymore.
Yeah, right.
Like the actual 26 gold cartridges. So back in 2014. one of these original gold cartridges, these gold Nintendo World Championship cartridges, sold on eBay for $100,000.
Wow, $100,000.
$100,000. Now, up until that point, they were roughly considered about, I think, $15,000. I think.
Really?
Like I think like 15,000 was around the average, but yeah, they've been I mean, think about it. I mean, there are very few in existence.
Oh, yeah,
so
26 at least.
So most. Yeah, I mean, absolutely rare. If you actually have your hands on one of those, just hang on to it for dear life.
Oh yeah, put it in a safe deposit box and never look at it again.
Exactly. So yeah. So in the so now circling back to the champions, Thor Ackerland, who was the 12 to 17-year-old champion, in 2012, he decided to put his gold trophy up on eBay.
Uh-oh. You had hard times?
Gold trophy, world champion. It was a gold Mario.
Okay.
It was a gold trophy of Mario. He threw it up on eBay with his World Championship controller, because they gave them a World Championship controller too.
Cool.
Because it was an NES controller, and it actually had the World Championship, the Nintendo World Championship logo on it.
I never knew that. That's sweet.
Yep. He put it up on eBay for $300,000.
Oh my God! Come on, Thor. That was a starting price. Good Lord.
Yep.
Start at 99 cents. Work your way up.
Yep, I do not know if it actually sold. I'm going to assume it did not.
Honestly, oh my, look. I mean, it's one thing to have the cartridge. I mean, the controller, that definitely I can see getting a good amount of money with. The trophy, I mean, you get anyone a trophy, spray paint it gold, call it a day. That's nuts.
So, yeah, I mean that's just nuts. Now, you know, of course, 1990 was the actual World Championships. So, and that was the only one they ever held, as far as we know, right, in existence. That was
far
just,
as that level,
except until
okay, all right,
yeah, at that level until 2015. 2015, Nintendo announced the return of the Nintendo World Championships for its 25th anniversary. And it was part of they announced it at E3 in 2015. And the competition started on May 30th at 8 Best Buy locations across the U.S. And the contestants competed for the high score in the Ultimate NES Remix. So the NES Remix was a game that was released on Wii U. The winners from each 8 locations, those 8 players, competed in the finals again in Los Angeles. And it was it was streamed online on
I remember
June 14th.
watching.
Yep, June 14th, 2015. And the games that they played were they played Splatoon for Wii U, Legend of Zelda for NES, Metroid Prime Federation Force for 3DS, Super Metroid for SNES, Mario Kart 8 Wii U, Balloon Fight for NES, which I love, and Super Smash Bros. For Wii U. And then the final contest consisted of custom levels of the unreleased Super Mario Maker, because at the time it was not out yet.
I remember
that. Mario creator himself,
Miyamoto?
Miyamoto. I can never say his first name right. I don't know if it's Shigeru or Shigeru. Miyamoto.
Shigeru Miyamoto.
Shigeru Miyamoto made a surprise appearance at the event to give the trophy to the winner, and he autographed a Nintendo 3DS XL for the 2 finals.
Nice.
So
I do remember there being not as big as the World Championship, but I think like 1994 they did like a Super Nintendo College tour.
Yeah, there was the
not like the level of this.
No. There was the Nintendo Campus Challenge.
Yes.
That was in like 93 or 94, I think. I am not in a position to describe it.
That's okay, no problem.
That is not what we're doing for this retro spotlight.
But I do remember because I remember there was a catalog. Nintendo put out a catalog of stuff you can buy, and one of them was the competition version of Star Fox.
Ooh.
which was the only version of Star Fox that I had on Super Nintendo. For some reason, I never got Star Fox, the regular game, on Super Nintendo. And I remember you talking about like 6 minutes and 21 seconds for the World Championship. I remember the Star Fox game was like 12 minutes and like 10 seconds. Like, it was just an odd gameplay time.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they came up with those gameplay times like specifically for something. I don't know exactly what it was, but yeah, there's definitely there had to be some science to the times.
Totally.
So we've had 2 Nintendo World Championships. Obviously, the one in 1990 is more well known, specifically because we went to it. But again, when anybody who's a retro gamer, I think, or who was a kid at this time, if you didn't know about it, or if you didn't go to one, it was in Nintendo Power. It was all the rage. I mean, I just remember all the hype behind it. The fact that they were doing a Nintendo convention and there was this tournament. So that is today's retro spotlight on the Nintendo World Championships. All right, Larry. So I know we're at that point in our podcast where we normally get into This Week in Gaming, which has become a staple of our show.
Yeah, that's how we wrap it up.
Before we get into This Week in Gaming, we've been talking about so many other things today, specifically more around tournaments and whatnot. But I did a little shopping this week.
Oh,
and
did
picked
you?
Up a couple of little retro items I think you would appreciate.
Oh, cool. All right, let's check it out.
One of them was actually given to me by somebody I know at work.
Are you getting gifts already from the podcast?
Yes.
What?
Oh yeah, no, I get swag, baby.
Oh man.
I know. So this is a company called Pixel Pals. Pixel Pals, and they make pixel characters, and they're doing a Nintendo series. So I got my hands on a Pixel Link.
Oh, that's cool. Look at that thing.
So they have different characters. They have Link. They have Mario. They have several versions of Mario, including Fireball Mario, which looks really cool.
Nice.
They have a Luigi, so Luigi didn't get shafted. I also saw Mega Man.
Oh, sweet.
Who looks really cool, and they have 2 Mega Man. They have the regular Mega Man, and I think they have the Heat Man, the Heat or Fireman Mega Man with the red and yellow.
Okay,
just
nice.
Really cool. So it's just a really cool little Pixel Pal, and it just, if you can see when I do this, it just kind of just rests.
Yeah,
it just stands there. It still stands there. I go, and I don't know if you can see that, or maybe it's not working.
Does it light up?
Yeah, it lights up.
Okay.
So he apparently needs batteries. He does.
Oh, okay. Well, there you
go. But yeah. So they also.
You need
he also
power.
You can also. Yes, you need power. So yeah, so he lights up. So these are it's cool. Really cool little item. Again, they're called Pixel Pals.
Okay.
And now that I have one, I want the whole set. So I'm going to be spending more money, I think, very soon. So Pixel Pals.
Check that out. Sweet.
Yeah, check them out. They have them on Amazon. Really, really cool. Okay. For ages 14 and up, according to the box.
Oh, good. Okay.
So no kids allowed. And then what I'm more excited about to show you, I ordered this last weekend because I found out it existed.
Oh.
And then when I ordered it, and I got the recommendation from Amazon for other books that they've put out that are similar to this, so I need to start looking at those as well. But I got a hardcover copy off of Amazon of the Nintendo 64 Anthology.
Oh, look at that thing. Nice.
Yeah. So first off, it recounts the history of the N64. How it came to being and all that stuff. It's got the full,
some nice stuff.
Buy up in history of it, which is really cool. And then after you get through the history of the N64, it decides to go. Then it covers all 388 games.
Wow.
Created on the N64.
Look at that. That is only 388 games. That's it.
They only had 388 games over the course from 1996 to 2002.
That is sweet. Look, it's got it'll show the boxes. It shows some screenshots.
It shows cover art, screenshots, and a short description for every game.
Yeah.
It also has the Japanese title
Oh, okay.
For some of these, the ones that came out in Japan.
Nice.
Which is really cool. Yeah, so I haven't obviously started reading it yet, but now it's on my list of things to read.
Collectibles canceled. What was that? Canceled games? Oh, look at
Yeah,
the disc drive.
yeah,
I forgot about the disc drive.
It also includes all the games that were in development that did not make it to the system. So here's the disc drive and the wrestling.
There you go. Nitro,
the wrestling.
Mayhem, like it.
So yeah, so really really cool book.
Who's it by?
When what?
Who's it by? Who wrote it?
Math Manent, Manent. All you got to do is look up Nintendo 64 Anthology. What I love about it too is that normally, like when you buy these kind of books, like they're very colorful and whatnot. I love the sleek black hardcover of it with the and the artwork on the front is just like, like kind of a gray line art of the N64 and the controller. So
look at that.
Just
Sweet.
really, just really nicely done.
Yep.
So anybody who's a fan of the Nintendo 64 now, the more I look back on my retro systems, the more I realize how much I loved my N64. Like really, like it's one of the ones where it's like I always had it, I never ever sold it, and I just realized like it's probably after NES, it's probably my favorite system.
Oh wow, okay.
And it's funny because I look at all the systems I have and I'm like, it had some great games. I mean, I love my Super Nintendo did that too, but I gotta say, I think N64 got the edge for me. And it could be, Legend of Zelda. I mean, those games on there were just killer.
I mean, just right off the bat, Zelda, Super Mario World, Super Mario 64, GoldenEye, the WWE games and the WCW games.
Smash Brothers, the very first Smash Brothers. Yeah, I mean, just amazing stuff. So it's just great to have a book that literally captures every single game ever made, because now I know just how many games I have to buy. So and also, since you did notice that there's a whole section called canceled games, just to name like one or two that were in development that got canceled and would have been awesome to have. Earthbound 64.
I remember hearing about that.
Yeah, that they were making. Mortal Kombat Special Forces.
Oh God! Yes.
They were Do you remember Blades of Steel for NES?
They were going to make one on the N64.
NHL Blades of Steel 2000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Blades of Steel on the NES is. Me and my cousins used to play it all the time.
Yep. They were planning a Prince of Persia. Resident Evil 0.
Oh, that's the one that probably got moved to GameCube.
Exactly. X-Men Mutant Academy.
Ooh. Fighting.
And let's see. And then the one, interesting. Then they have something licenses which never saw the light of day. So they talk about other stuff that which includes Metroid 64, Grand Theft Auto, Final Fantasy 7. So, and then they have an entire list.
Oh, look at that! Wow,
a regular list. And Final Fantasy 7 is on the list of games that they were planning for N64. It just never happened.
Interesting. That would have been.
And Final Fantasy 7 is on probably my top 5 of games of all time. So so really awesome book. Definitely covers a lot of stuff. There's a section in here for rarities and collector's items.
Oh man, I can't wait now.
As well. So it's on Amazon. It's only $25.
Oh, that's not bad.
No, not bad at all. So I just wanted to share those two things with you before we went into This Week in Gaming. So it's just really cool book, and when I finish reading through it, I will do a nice retro review.
Sweet.
Oh, haha. And in the back there's a collector's corner, so you can check it off if you have it.
That's awesome.
And also they list Japan, USA, Europe, and Australia. So if you want to get every version of the game, you can check it off here. So
that's awesome. We'll put the link up for that in the description.
And I heard they were going to make a Virtual Boy one, but it really just turned out to be a pamphlet.
How long were you working on that one?
5 seconds.
Yeah, okay.
Let me tell you something. My Virtual Boy jokes just come off the cuff. I do not plan them. They just happen. Okay. It's not like I have a list of them somewhere.
Yeah. Okay. What is that on your fridge?
Don't look at my fridge.
Why
are you looking at my fridge?
What do we got happening this week?
All right, This Week in Gaming. Here we go. And let's see. So back in 1977.
Whoa, it's probably the furthest
week.
we've ever gone back.
That is that is officially the farthest we've ever gone back. 40 years ago this week, the color TV game 15S console was released in Japan.
Wow, probably I'm going to assume the first color console.
It's quite possible.
Maybe.
I did not
Sounds
do
like
thorough research on this.
Fair
If I did, it would have been our retro spotlight, but we were doing tournaments this week. So maybe next week. We'll see what happens. Okay. Anyway, we're going to jump to 1984 when Blackjack debuted on DOS.
Oh, wow.
In the United States. 1985, I thought I would bring this up. Normally, you know how I like to stick to U.S. and Japan. I don't really branch out very much. But in the United Kingdom, in 1985 on the ZX Spectrum, they actually got A View to a Kill, the computer game, based off the James Bond movie.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
wow.
So I thought I would bring that up. Those boys
cool.
over in the UK.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, James Bond is a British character.
Sure
so
is. Roger
sense.
Moore just died a couple of weeks ago. So
yes, he did. Rest in peace. Also in 1985 in Japan on the NES, Dig Dug. Remember Dig Dug?
Oh, yes. Love Dig Dug.
Dig Dug was awesome.
Always a classic Namco game.
Okay, and in 1987, we are celebrating the 30th anniversary.
Okay.
It was released on DOS and Apple II. Leisure Suit Larry in the Land of the Lounge Lizards.
Oh, say that 3 times fast. Leisure Suit Larry. That was like one of the first. If the rating boards were out back then, that probably would have been an M-rated game. You know,
it probably would have. I mean, I think it definitely came out later than Custer's Revenge.
Oh yeah,
if you remember that on Atari.
Yep.
But Leisure Suit Larry was definitely one of those games where all of a sudden it's like. Now there, you know, it's a perfect one to question on in terms of adult content because I remember playing that game, and no, I did not play it when I was 10 years old, or I'm sorry, at that point I was 8 or 9 years old. But I remember when I played Leisure Suit Larry for the first time, it was actually a compilation disc. In the late 90s, they had put every version of Leisure Suit Larry onto a CD-ROM, and I think there were 6 or 7 of them. 30 seconds into the game, I think I died of syphilis.
Oh God!
Because like I was right outside of a hotel. There's a woman there, and you sleep with her and you die.
There you go. It's the Oregon Trail of the 1990s,
more or less. Oregon Trail's an awesome game, and by the way, also an awesome board game. Which I
played it.
Oh yeah, I have it.
Oh,
my friends and I play it all the time. We just laugh because we always wind up dying of dysentery. It's as hard as the video game was.
Awesome.
So it's awesome. So happy 30th anniversary, Leisure Suit Larry. Woo. All right. So moving on to 1989, R-Type. Do you remember R-Type? The game R-Type?
R-Type. Yep. The original one on TurboGrafx?
No, this was on the Sharp X68000.
Oh, all right. We got it in this week. R-Type, one of the best side-scrolling shoot 'em ups that's out there. I mean, there's maybe like 2 or 3 series that'll do it in R-Type. I remember having 2 of them on Super Nintendo. Fantastic.
Yep, and also 25 years ago today in Japan on the Super Nintendo, Street Fighter 2 was released.
Oh, there you go. Tournament. All right.
Big deal. Well, nope, there's a Street Fighter 2 tournament going on for the Virtual Boy.
Exactly.
In Irving, Texas, August 5th and 6th.
And one the end of June that I'll be at.
But there won't be a Virtual Boy tournament.
No, it won't be Virtual Boy. It'll be a Super Nintendo tournament. And more of that information to come in the coming weeks.
Yes. All right, 1993 Game Boy version of Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening in Japan.
Oh, great game. Absolutely fantastic.
Going to jump a little bit to 1995 in the United States. Earthbound for Super Nintendo.
Okay, never played it, but I heard it's a fantastic game.
I know it's one of those games I'm actually sad to say I did not play because everybody speaks really fondly of it. Right. Gonna jump a couple of years to 1997 on the Mac. We got Duke Nukem 3D Atomic Edition.
Duke Nukem.
Good old Duke Nukem. We also got PGA Tour Pro for Windows.
Oh, all right.
So we got some PC love there. Gotcha. 1998 on the N64. Virtual Chess 64.
Very straightforward.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of says it all. Jumping 2 years to the year 2000.
The year
Gauntlet
2000.
Legends on Dreamcast.
Did I own that? I may have had that.
I still have Gauntlet Legends. I think it was an awesome game.
Yeah, it was totally. Gauntlet.
Yep.
Gauntlet. Just real quick. I mean, the company. I forgot who made Gauntlet. I'm sorry, but that was such a coin eater back in the day.
Yep.
Like the original Gauntlet. Like I think on purpose, it was so hard,
yeah.
and just people just because you put a quarter in and you immediately pick up where you left off. So.
Yep.
A lot of money dropped.
Yeah,
on that one.
so you wanted to beat the game.
Exactly.
Lo and behold, you don't realize that there are 100 levels to the game, and you're never going to beat it without spending like $100. Also in 2000, on PlayStation 2 in Japan, I don't think we got we didn't get PlayStation 2 in 2000. We got it later than that. But PlayStation 2 in Japan, All Star Pro Wrestling.
Oh, okay.
On PlayStation 1 in the United States, we got Rampage Through Time.
Oh, Through Time. Did I have Through Time? Rampage on N64, Rampage World Tour was phenomenal. But Through Time, that's cool. They're making a Rampage movie. I'm already upset at it.
Yeah, isn't
The Rock is in
Dwayne Johnson?
Yeah,
Dwayne Johnson is the star.
But it's not people mutated into giant animals. It's just animals mutated into giant animals and then run amok in a city. So
What's wrong with that?
That's not the game. The game was people being turned into these goofy animals, and they better have a scene of George the gorilla climbing up the side of a building and punching it until it falls apart. Because if not, I'm going to be very upset.
Well, I'm assuming that'll happen at some point.
Better happen.
It has to.
Moving right along.
Well, you know what? I mean, if not, they just lost your $15.
It sure did. Oh, so
all right. 2001, Fire Pro Wrestling for Game Boy Advance.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yep. And 2001 is home of two. I've got two really interesting game titles for you this week.
Okay.
One is, and this was on Windows, on PC, Gilbert Goodmate and the Mushroom of Fangoria.
Got that alliteration going.
Well, what's funny is I had to read it 3 times before I realized it didn't say Gilbert Gottfried.
What are you going to do? I'm on a game.
Because that was a horrible
terrible Gilbert Gottfried. Who does a Gilbert Gottfried?
But all I kept thinking of was, oh my God, did they get Gilbert Gottfried a voice? Like put voice in a game?
The Aflac Duck.
Anyway,
or he was the Aflac Duck.
Aflac. And then the other PC game, which wins the title for strange game title of the week, the Walmart SUV Parking Lot Challenge.
What? I want video footage of that game, and I want it now. What system did that come out on?
That came out on PC. It was published by Vertigo Games, published and developed by Vertigo Games, released June 6, 2001. It was an action racing driving game, top-down 2D scrolling.
Ironically, not sold at Walmart.
Well, you know what? You think about a Walmart parking lot. Parking an SUV there is pretty challenging.
Sure. Awesome.
So yeah, Walmart SUV Parking Lot Challenge. There's a game I never knew existed,
honestly,
and
right?
kind of wish it still didn't.
Cow.
And so much so that I'm on YouTube right now trying to figure out if somebody's got video of it. And you know what? They don't.
Shocking.
Anyway, moving on to 2002. We got a lot in 2002, actually. But I'm going to limit it a little bit. Zoo Cube for GameCube.
Okay.
Figure that one out. Bomberman Generation for GameCube, and at the same time, Bomberman Max 2 Blue Advance and Red Advance for Game Boy Advance.
Okay. Wow. A lot of advance.
A lot of Bombermans. We also got Medal of Honor Frontline for PlayStation 2. Sweet. I know we covered that last week in our Memorial Day episode for Retro Spotlight. We also got Mike Tyson Heavyweight Boxing for PS2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there are a lot of games to mention for 2002. Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind for Xbox.
Ooh,
that was a big game.
Yes.
Back then. And probably your favorite, WWE WrestleMania X8 for GameCube came out.
That was a good one. Wasn't bad.
No, I enjoyed that 15 years ago. And then 2003, Donkey Kong Country for Game Boy Advance.
Okay, just a port of Donkey Kong Country.
Yep. And then Ultimate Muscle, Legends versus New Generation for GameCube.
Muscle. Oh, I remember those things.
Remember those?
I love those things.
2004, Sonic Advance 3 for Game Boy Advance.
Okay, those were good games on Game Boy Advance.
Yep. Legend of Zelda: Four Swords Adventures, which is really cool.
That game rocked. GameCube, right?
I love that game, but I played it alone. I didn't play it with people.
Me too. I never really played multiplayer on that one.
Okay. 2005, Astro Invader for ColecoVision.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the year on that one?
2005, Astro Invader for ColecoVision. Now, remember last week?
Yeah, we were talking about this last week.
We were talking about last week how all these Atari 2600 games were coming out in like 2005, 2006.
Yeah.
Okay. Hold that thought until I finish This Week in Gaming, because I'm gonna close on.
Because I had a question about if they were homebrews or not.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. So hold on to that.
Okay.
2005, Astro Invader for ColecoVision, Fall Down for Atari 2600, Go Fish for Atari 2600, Warring Worms: The Worm Returns, Atari 2600. Okay.
These were all in 2005.
These are all 2005.
Okay.
And then, of course, we got this was an interesting one to point out in 2005. World of Warcraft was released on PC in China.
Oh, wow.
In 2005.
Okay.
Grand Theft Auto San Andreas for Xbox and Windows, also in 2005.
Nice.
And now 2006 to close out the year, and then I'm going to circle back to my Atari story. We got Pixar's Cars video game.
Wow.
For Xbox, PS2, Game Boy Advance. I can't believe Cars is 11 years old. That movie is 11 years old.
And they're coming out with a third one now. That is a long time. Wow.
Also, Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories for PlayStation 2.
Okay.
And then we have Rainbow Invaders for Atari 2600.
What is going on here?
And Wolfenstein VCS: The Next Mission for Atari 2600.
Okay. So what's the story behind these?
Okay. So last week I had said we had to get to the bottom of all of these Atari games coming out in 2005 and 6. You are correct. These are homemade Atari games and Coleco games and stuff like that. But here's why they're all happening in 2005 and 2006. So in those 2 years, there was a competition. There was a competition going on called, what was it called? I just had it.
Nintendo World Championship.
It was called the 2005 Mini Game Competition. And also, obviously, the next year was the 2006 Mini Game Competition. Okay? So, and these competitions had, they had like these certain challenges. So basically, the game had to be 1K in size, 1 kilobyte in size.
Okay.
And it can only use up to 128 bytes of RAM.
Probably the size of these original cartridges.
Right, exactly. So during 2005 and 2006, all of these, just programmers at home started developing these Atari games, these Coleco games in 2005 and 2006 for this competition. Mm-hmm. Now, the 2005 winner was a game called Robot City.
Okay.
I'm sorry. It was the 2006 winner. The 2006 winner was Robot City, which was developed for the Atari 2600. It was a 1K game, and it was completed. I'm trying to see if I can find the winner. It was Thomas Jentz, who wound up winning in 2006. 2005, I am not 100% sure who won the minigame competition. I searched around as much as I could, but could not find anything. However, what happened was in 2005, a group of people, four programmers that were working together in this competition, they wound up releasing the 2005 minigame multi-cart.
Okay.
And it was It was a cartridge release for the Atari 2600 with 6 Atari games that they put together.
Oh wow.
So, and none of them were on the list that I mentioned just now, but there were 6 games called Hunchy, which was based off the Hunchback of Notre Dame story. Yeah. Jetman, Knight Rider, not off the TV. Yeah. Zirconium, Rocket Command, M4, and Marble Jumper. So they developed these 6 games and actually released them on an Atari 2600 console cartridge. You could also download the ROMs online. Mm-hmm. But that's why all of these Atari and Coleco games are coming up in 2005 and 2006. There were these mini-game competitions going on, so programmers were making these games at the time.
Wow, that explains a lot.
Yeah, so now when we see these in This Week in Gaming, no, it's not strange. Well, yes, it's strange. But, it's not strange because there were actual, competitions going on for making these games at the time.
All right.
And that ends This Week in Gaming.
There we go. That was a lot. Fun fact, the PlayStation 2 came out in October of 2000 in the U.S.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that early.
Pretty much ran from 2000 to 2013.
I think what happened is I didn't get it. I didn't get it right away.
First, neither did I. No.
Yeah, I was really too busy with. At that time, I was too busy with WWF Attitude on PlayStation.
Yep.
And I think at the time, was I in Majora's Mask on N64?
I hate that game.
I might have. Oh, I love that game. That game was awesome. I was buried in that game.
There you go. And with that, folks, that is another week of the Retro Gamers. This was a good one.
We did it. We made it.
Woo! We survived the tournament of surviving.
We definitely survived the tournament of no less than 3 or 4 insults to the Virtual Boy this week.
Woo! A couple right jabs, shot to the gut. And with that, don't forget.
I am the champion.
Follow us on Instagram at @the_RetroGamers. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/RetroGamersPodcast. And our website,
theretrogamers.com.
.com. Oh, yeah, .com. Theretrogamers.com.
That part's important.
That is. And, continue to watch. We're going to be doing some more streaming videos. I'll be on there. Ant will be on there. Maybe some new games, maybe some old games. But either way, follow us and hit that subscribe button on iTunes so that way you get each and every episode when it drops. So we're going to wrap it up. Ant, have a good week.
You have a good week as well. Until next time.
You got it. See you later, folks.